Welcome back to another episode on Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast. My name is Emmanuel Isaacson, and I'm an anxiety coach who helps people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally. Who here struggles with having anxiety while they're eating or having anxiety before they need to eat a meal? I know a lot of people do struggle with this. I personally never did. I struggle with more with not having an appetite because I was just extremely, I guess because of my depression, but I also later on found out also anxiety can make you lose your appetite, and I lost a ton of weight. But I know a lot of people do struggle with having anxiety whenever they're about to eat or while they're eating. And the reason why they have anxiety can be from a lot of different reasons. A lot of people feel like they're afraid of they might choke, or a lot of people are afraid they're going to throw up. They are afraid that there is something contaminated in the food. They may feel this lump in their throat where they feel like their throat is closing in so the food won't pass by, or they might gag. There's a lot of different reasons why people are afraid. They have that anxiety while eating, and I know it affects a lot of people because they're afraid of, losing their weight and everything. It's like, okay, I'm losing a lot of weight. That's weird. And then they get worried about that. Maybe they might have a problem. They might end up in the hospital with, with the IVs to make sure they have enough fluids and they have enough energy and all these things, and get into this spiral of these thoughts that just happen. We get into this black hole of what could happen, and what the anxiety that takes you places we don't want to be in. But the thing is with food, and of course eating is important. Of course it is. And don't pressure yourself to having to eat a certain amount or forcing yourself okay, I need to eat this, because again, that increases your anxiety. We have to be okay with understanding okay, you know what? I may eat, let's say, a quarter of this plate. I may not eat the whole thing, or I may eat half of this sandwich or a quarter of this sandwich. We want to look at the amount that we actually ate. Focus on that. So you know what? I'm doing such a great job over here. I ate a quarter. That's amazing. I didn't eat the whole thing, but I ate some of it. We always want to look at the positive side of what we're doing. And that can be with everything, but we're specifically talking about food over here. And whenever you have anxiety about that, well, how we can actually look at it and how can we deal with it differently. So we can look at it on how much we actually ate. Another thing that we can actually do whenever you are eating is, by the way, whenever you are eating, that is exposure therapy. In a way that is exposure therapy, because there might be other things that is bothering you around the food aspect that you may need to do exposure therapy with that. But I'm talking about while you're eating and getting nervous about eating and you're having anxiety, whenever you are eating, it's exposure therapy. And what we could do over there is tell ourselves that just because I'm eating, it doesn't mean I'm going to throw up. It doesn't mean I'm going to gag. It doesn't mean I am going to choke. It doesn't mean I'm going to, whatever thought that you have about eating, whatever it is, it doesn't mean that's going to happen. How many times before we had anxiety that we ate and everything was fine? And everything was fine. And how many billions of people all around the world eat and they're totally fine? They're not dropping like flies over here left and right. People are choking or they're gagging or throwing up 24/7. No, majority of the people, 99% of the world, they eat and nothing bad happens to them. But we tend to focus on that 1%, on that small percentage, whatever the percentage is. It doesn't really matter, but it's a small percentage of something bad happening to us whenever we're eating. Now, why is it that we focus on that small percentage? What's the reason why? Why not focus on the amount of times that nothing did happen to you personally and also around the world? This is also whenever I tell about flights, people are afraid of flying. I ask them, okay, how many flights are there in one day? How many flights? In the past year, how many flights were there? How many plane crashes happened? Not one. So why are we focusing on that small percentage of it happening now? Why not focus on the 99% where everything is safe and everything is fine and people fly all around the world and they get places and they see their family or they go on vacation or they enjoy themselves, whatever it is? Why we tend to focus on it? Because again, we're trying to protect ourselves from the danger. We don't want to experience us with the food. We don't want to choke. We don't want to throw up. We don't want to gag. We don't want to have anxiety. We don't want to feel more anxious. Again, there's different reasons why you may have anxiety while eating. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen to you. It has no correlation whatsoever. It doesn't mean that the food is contaminated. How many times did you eat food and everything was fine? So we can tell ourselves that thing. We can also tell ourselves like, hey, I am in a safe place. Eating food is necessary. Eating food is not a dangerous thing. Again, because you have to understand your body right now is in fight and fight mode. Your body's not thinking about eating food. It's thinking about survival. That's what it is. So we need to tell it like, listen, eating food is not a dangerous thing. It's not a dangerous thing whatsoever. It is actually normal to eat, and we have to eat in order to sustain ourselves, in order to be healthy. And again, a lot of people nowadays, we overeat. And I know for some people, whenever they overeat, they feel anxious. But we need to talk to our anxiety and tell our anxiety, hey, we are in a safe place. The food, let's say if we're afraid of contamination, the food is not contaminated. It's fresh. It's fine. It's good to eat. It doesn't mean that we're going to eat and we're going to get, we're going to choke or anything like that. We've ate plenty of times before. It's safe to eat. Eating is a safe thing. So whenever we tell ourselves that and say, you know what? I am going to eat a quarter today of the sandwich, of the plate, whatever it is. I'm going to eat half of it. That's what it is. And whenever we're doing that, we don't want to think about, when am I going to finish eating? Like, when is it going to be over with? No. We want to be okay with it and take our time. We don't want to rush it or anything like that. But we want to tell ourselves over and over again, eating is a safe thing. Our food is not contaminated. We are going to be fine afterwards. We're going to feel great afterwards. We're going to feel more energized afterwards. We're going to enjoy the taste of this food that's in my mouth. It tastes so good. Like, I'm a big steak person. I love steak. I love it. And there's a steakhouse here in New York, which is amazing. They're really, really good. And I love it. And every time I eat there, I feel like, wow. It's not like you don't feel heavy or anything like that, or like you feel like groggy or you feel like down. You feel like, whoa, I ate a really good meal. So like it gives you more energy. So we can tell ourselves, you know what, this meal is going to give us more energy. We want to instill positivity in that situation, so that it helps us to calm down. Because positive thinking, again, if negative thinking makes you feel more anxious, then positive thinking, the opposite of negative thinking, helps you to calm down. It helps you to feel at ease. That's the point. That's what's so strong and so powerful about positive thinking. It helps you to feel much calmer. It helps you to be at ease. Because like you're not thinking about the worst case scenario. You're not going into that rabbit hole that we're all afraid of going in. And when we do, we're spiraling out of control. No, it helps us to elevate ourselves. It helps us to feel good. It helps us to give us energy. And we tell ourselves, like, you know what? And it gives us confidence, by the way, guys. It gives us confidence that, you know what? I'm going to overcome this struggle that I have with eating. I'm going to overcome this. Because I know it's not an easy thing, guys. I know, and I always say this in every episode. Overcoming anxiety, whatever you have, is not an easy thing. It's a struggle every single time. But we need to be okay with the struggle, because eventually we'll get to that point where we're no longer experiencing anxiety and we'll be anxiety free, and we'll have that energy that we have lost since we have an anxiety disorder. We've lost that energy and we feel like this down. Now, guys, also, by the way, we want to eat healthier food. We don't want to eat deep fried food or things with a lot of sugar or things with artificial flavoring, processed food, this MSG stuff, the artificial flavoring, the red 40s, or the food coloring. We want to avoid those things because they make you feel more anxious. We want to eat something healthier. We want to eat more grilled, more, sauteed, more. We want to eat like steamed. We don't want to eat. And if we're doing deep fried, we want to use healthier oil Don't use vegetable oil. Don't use canola oil. Don't use corn oil. We want to use like olive oil, avocado oil. These types of oils, they help you to feel much better. Like you'll feel much better afterwards. I know it's a little bit on the expensive side, but afterwards you'll feel much better. And guys, just remember not to give up. Try to do the exposure therapy. Speak back to your anxiety. Don't let your anxiety dictate of how things are going to be. Speak back to it. Do the exposure therapy. Talk to yourself to calm yourself down. And you'll see eventually that you'll no longer have anxiety while you're eating. If you did like this episode, please click the like button and leave a 5-star review. The reason why I ask is because this way we're able to reach more people. And the more people that we can actually reach, the more people that we can actually help. Because my mission in this world, my purpose is to help people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally and show them that it's possible to overcome. Thank you guys. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.